You know that sick, hollow feeling you get right when you know you're about to betray yourself? That specific cold stomach drop. That's where my story starts. In a waiting room so quiet you could hear the leather on the chairs squeak. It smelled like rich people air, faintly of wood polish and nothing at all. I was the only one there who looked like my shoes were from a thrift store. My name is Laika. I'm 29, and for my entire adult life, I've been an actor. Not an actress. I hate that word. It sounds small, frilly. I'm not small or frilly. I was an artist. Before that day, my life was my 6th floor walk up with the radiator that screamed like a dying animal, usually around 3 a.m. It was black coffee for breakfast, lunch, and sometimes dinner. It was the thrill of a sold-out, all 30 seats, black box theater show, and the gut punch of a pink eviction notice taped to my door. I did indie films that maybe 10 people saw. I did experimental theater. I once played a dying tree for a 40-minute silent piece. I had to hold my body in a twisted pose for so long, my muscles would shake, and I'd just use it. I'd let the shaking be the wind. And I was good. I was true. I lived on nothing, and I told myself it was noble, that I was prioritizing my craft, my voice, over stupid things like, health insurance, or a savings account, or being able to buy vegetables that weren't 90% brown. My whole purpose was to just make something real, to hold up a mirror and show people a truth they didn't want to see. I was terrified of being ordinary, of being just another pretty empty face smiling on a poster. Which is why it was so weird that I was sitting there in that glass and chrome office high above the city, waiting to audition for a toothpaste commercial. Here's the part I don't like to admit, the part that isn't noble. Being a pure artist is just another way of saying you're poor. And I wasn't just poor, I was tired. I was so tired. My trauma wasn't one big cinematic event. It was the slow, grinding erosion of 1,000 rejections. It was casting directors looking straight through me, their eyes glazing over the second I started my monologue. "You're a bit intense," they'd say. Not quite the girl next door. A little strange. Every no felt like they were saying I was flawed. That the real me, the person I was trying to show through my art, was fundamentally wrong, unsellable. And if the real me was worthless, then what was the point? The fear of being insignificant, of being a fraud who was never actually talented at all, that was the real monster under my bed. I needed money. That's the simple part. My tooth had been aching for months, a dull throb that became its own character in my life. It was a constant, low-level reminder of my failure. I was desperate. But there was that other, uglier thing too. That tiny, whispering hope. The hope that maybe, just maybe, I could do this one fake thing, this one horrible, plastic, soul-crushing commercial. And maybe it would pay the bills, and maybe it would get me in a bigger room. A room where I could finally do the work that mattered, where they would finally see me. That's the bargain I was making. That's the lie I told myself as the polished wooden door opened and a woman with a smile that didn't reach her eyes called my name. I was trading my authenticity for survival. I just didn't know the price was so much higher than I could have ever imagined. So I got an agent, the woman with the dead-eyed smile. Her name was Brenda, and she talked like every word cost her money. She took one look at my resume, my theater awards, my indie festivals, and she just said, nobody cares. But your face, your look, that I can sell. I wanted to leave. I wanted to tell her my look was the least interesting thing about me. But then the radiator screamed in my head, and my tooth gave a sharp, angry throb. So I just nodded. She got me the audition, not for the toothpaste. Kid stuff, she said. The eviction notice won that particular argument. You need a real paycheck. Now. The script was called Silken Web. It was, I kid you not, an erotic thriller. I read my lines in the hallway and felt nothing. The character, Sienna, was a cliché, a femme fatale with a secret vulnerability. Her entire personality was sexy and mysterious. She didn't have a single line that wasn't about a man. But the paycheck? That paycheck could stop the screaming radiator, it could fix my tooth, it could buy me a year of freedom to do my real work. That's the lie, right? One for them, one for me. The shoot was cold. That's the only word for it. It was all blue lights and glass tables and a director, Mello, who only spoke to me in verbs. Arch your back, part your lips, look hungry. I tried, I really did. I sat in my trailer and wrote a 10-page backstory for Sienna. I found her trauma. I figured out why she behaved the way she did. I tried to give her a soul. I remember this one scene, supposed to be the big emotional climax, where she breaks down. I was digging deep. I was pulling up all that rejection, all those intense and strange comments, all that fear of being flawed, and I was using it. I was crying. It was real. My whole body was shaking with it. When I finished, the set was quiet. I was shaking. The director, Mello, just stared at me. He waited a beat. Then he walked over and patted my shoulder like he'd pat a dog that just did a confusing trick. That's great, honey. Really intense. But we're losing the light. Let's do it again, but this time just be sexy. Can you do that? Just think sexy. And maybe lose the robe. The tears are making your face blotchy. The movie came out 6 months later. I didn't go to the premiere. I told myself it was because I was above that kind of thing. But the truth is, I was terrified. I was walking home from my survival job, still waiting tables, because the big check hadn't come in yet, and I saw it. On the side of a bus shelter, a poster. My face, 10 feet tall, lit in that same cold blue light. But it wasn't my face. It was me, but scrubbed clean, polished. My freckles were gone. My one slightly crooked tooth was perfect. My eyes, the ones I'd tried to fill with so much truth, were empty, just wide and vacant. My lips were parted. The tagline in dripping red letters said, "She's not as innocent as she looks." I stood there. My hands went cold. It wasn't just a bad picture. It was an erasure. It was like they had taken a snapshot of my body, but stolen my soul. They dug inside me and pulled out everything unique, everything intense, everything strange, and thrown it away. All that was left was this thing, this perfect, hollow, marketable thing. I felt sick. I actually leaned against the bus shelter, my head spinning.
It was just a poster. It was just a stupid movie. So why did I feel like I was looking at my own death mask? I ran home, up all 6 flights, my lungs burning. My apartment was freezing. I hadn't paid the heating bill. I did the one thing you're never, ever supposed to do. I sat on my lumpy mattress, pulled out my laptop, and I read the reviews. Or rather, I read the comments. I scrolled through forums, tabloid sites, social media. It wasn't about my performance. It wasn't about the character's journey. It was just a wall of noise. That shower scene, 10 out of 10. She's my new obsession. Is she, in real life? Hottest new body in Hollywood. That Sienna is a psycho, but I'd let her kill me. I'd buy her for $1. She's not even acting. She's just standing there looking hot. New meat. Body. 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 Meat. It was like being buried alive. It was 1,000 voices all shouting at me at once, but they weren't talking to me. They were talking to the thing on the poster. They were talking about my body, my lips, my eyes, but they couldn't see me at all. I wasn't an artist. I wasn't even a person. I was a product, a piece of meat. I slammed my laptop shut, my heart pounding so hard it hurt my ribs. No, I whispered to the empty cold room. No, it's just noise. It's fine. I have money now. I can choose. I can go back. My phone rang, making me jump. It was Brenda. That dead-eyed smile was in her voice. Laika, baby, they love you. I saw the reviews, I stammered. My voice sounded thin. Forget the reviews, she laughed, a sharp, barking sound. Your quote just tripled. Honey, your phone is going to melt. I've got 3 new offers on the table. 3. All came in this afternoon. The studio's ecstatic. They want to lock you in. For a second, that old, stupid hope flared up. The hope from the waiting room. Are they good roles? Like, real characters? There was a pause. Not a long one, just a tiny plastic click on the line. The sound of her clicking a pen. Their leads, baby. Fatal Kiss, Midnight Obsession, and Carnal Desire. They're all shooting this year. The studio loved you and Webb. They want that. And that's when I saw it. The real threat. It wasn't a monster in the dark. It wasn't the creeps in the comment sections. It was the phone in my hand. It was the 3 scripts I knew were already being emailed to me, all with a different title but the exact same character. It was the echo chamber, the machine. It had found its new part. It wasn't just that they didn't see the real me. It was that they had seen her, that one intense moment on set, and they had decided that she was the flaw. They'd edited her out. And the truly terrifying part, the part that keeps me awake, is that they were offering me a fortune to help them do it. They were offering me everything I thought I wanted: security, a warm apartment, respect. All I had to do was kill the one thing I ever valued. All I had to do was agree that I was flawed and let them fix me.
I tried to fight. I really did. I used the silken web money to move out of my walk-up. I got a new place. White walls, floor-to-ceiling windows, furniture that looked like it belonged in a museum. It was silent. You couldn't hear traffic. You couldn't hear neighbors. The only thing that ever screamed was me, in my nightmares. I want to do theater, I told Brenda, sitting in her glass office again. This time I was wearing expensive shoes. Or that new indie script about the baker in Ohio, the one everyone's talking about. She just sighed, that fake, patient sigh, and stapled her fingers. Laika, be realistic. You're a star now. Stars don't do tiny plays for 50 people. And that baker role, they don't see you that way. They want the woman from the poster. That's the woman who gets 8 figures. Don't you want that? Don't you want to stop worrying? Isn't this better? I did. God, I did. I wanted the security. I wanted to never, ever see an eviction notice again. But I thought I could have both. I tried to escape. I went around Brenda. I found the indie director's email. Arden Vick. The one I'd always admired. The one who made films that mattered. I wrote him a long, passionate letter. I told him about my training, my work, the dying tree, everything. I attached my old reel, the one with the black box shows. I begged him to just let me audition. I know what Silken Web looks like, but that is not me. I am an artist. Please, just let me show you. His assistant replied 2 days later. A single sentence. Thank you for your interest, but we are looking for more of an unknown for this role. An unknown? I wasn't just a product. I was a brand. I was too famous to be real. The gruesome part, it wasn't bloody. It was quiet. It happened in my new sterile kitchen that smelled like cleaning chemicals and nothing else. The scripts for Fatal Kiss, Midnight Obsession, and Carnal Desire were laid out on my quartz countertop. 3 thick, white stacks. I read the first page of each one. Fatal Kiss. Exterior, Miami penthouse night. Mara, 20s, impossibly beautiful, a body that stops traffic, steps out of the pool, water cascading down her flawless skin. Interior, loft apartment night. Chloe, 20s, stunning, unaware of the effect she have on men, slips on a silk robe, the fabric clinging to her. Interior mansion bathroom day. Kira, 20s, a dangerous beauty, dries her hair, the towel barely covering her. It was the same script. They weren't even trying to hide it. Mara, Chloe, Kira, they were all Sienna. They were all the thing on the poster. I stood there for a long time. I looked at my reflection in the black mirrored surface of the oven. I saw the poster. The vacant eyes, the parted lips. I tried to say a line from The Seagull, Nina's monologue, a speech I used to know by heart, one I used to cry real tears over in my old, cold apartment. My mouth opened. I'm a seagull. No, that's not it. I couldn't remember the words. My mind was blank. I couldn't remember her. The girl who played the tree. The artist. The one who was intense and strange. The machine hadn't just buried her, it had hollowed her out. It had scooped out all the parts they said were wrong and left nothing but a perfect, beautiful, empty shell. I picked up the phone. I called Brenda. So, I said, and my voice sounded strange, like it was coming from far away. So, tell me about Fatal Kiss. No, wait. Tell me about all 3. Which one pays the most?
So, here I am. You've seen me. I'm sure you have. My face is on buses. My new movie, Carnal Desire 2, The Reckoning, just broke box office records. I live in a house that's mostly glass, overlooking a city I never see. I have a closet full of clothes I'm paid to wear and a bank account that never gets smaller. I'm a success. I'm also the loneliest person I've ever known. The horror story isn't about a ghost. It's about an erasure. It's about a quiet, internal annihilation. My trauma, my old fear, wasn't just about being poor or rejected. It was about being flawed, about being too intense, too strange, about being inauthentic. And the machine, it found that fear. It held it, and it whispered, "You're right, you are flawed, but we can fix you. We'll sand off those intense edges. We'll polish away that strange part. We'll make you perfect." And I let them. I paid them to do it. I signed the contract. My deepest fear wasn't being insignificant. It was being seen only as a superficial image and then becoming that image. It wasn't just being misunderstood, it was being understood perfectly as a commodity and having that commodity kill the artist I used to be. I am a perfectly functioning product. The system worked. I am fixed. Last night, I was at another premiere. The flashbulbs were like tiny explosions, white and blinding. The noise was a roar, just like the comments, just louder. Someone shouted, "Laika, who are you wearing?" I turned, I smiled, I parted my lips, I arched my back, I put my hand on my hip, just like they told me I was a perfect, beautiful, empty thing. I opened my mouth to answer, and for one solid, terrifying second, I couldn't remember my own name.
The horrors linger. Thank you so much for watching or listening. By liking and subscribing, you're helping me summon the next chilling tale from the shadows. Join our community of the brave and prepare for what's to come.